Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
Yes, sir. Basically, yes, sir.
I think that I saw that. Yeah, King Jordan, but I think he was caught off guard. It was clear to me that he was caught off guard, right? And that's why he was speaking like that.
Yeah, and I'm
But
just
he's not fitting to let 1 million Palestinians into Jordan. Right? That's not going to happen.
yeah. I
right?
hate to be optimistic about the Arab nations, but unless they pick up their crap and get together, this thing is not going to stop. They have all the money in the world, they have all the weapons in the world, and none of them has not even veto power. None of them can say no. This is what you. It's absurd. We can't do it. None of them can say that.
Well,
but like you said,
again, when geopolitically, when you're talking about all the money in the world, like what do you really mean? Because if you're talking about the petrodollar is the USD, which is the money they have. If you're talking about weaponry, the weaponry comes from America. Right?
Yep. And they can dismantle it anytime they want to. Shut it off.
So the weapons that they're buying from America is supplying those even more weapons to Israel. So
without a doubt,
they're not trying to fight Israel. They're not trying to do that, right? Because you're not going to beat Israel at this point in time militarily, but you can beat them economically, which is what I'm sure what's going on in Saudi Arabia. I'm positive they're looking to economically make a deal with Donald Trump. That's my opinion, but we will see when he gets back and what happens, right? May Allah reward you and bless you, multiply for 1,000,000-fold. Sister Tika with the $5 super chat. Hayakum Allah. And she says, yesterday and today have been great. May Allah increase you. Ameen, ameen, ameen.
Ameen. So my last point, so I can give my other brothers and the chat their chance, their time. What I think is, like, when he comes back and you watch it, he'll brag about it and say, "Karab, that didn't even happen." He'll be like, "Well, they came and licked my boots and they said everything that I wanted to do, yes." And they will come back and say, "He's lying." And we're gonna leave it like that, and things will never change.
I highly doubt that. I think that the Arab nations are going to try to make a deal with Donald Trump. He's either going to say yes or no. That's it. Right?
Okay.
If he says yes, will the Muslims now thank the Muslim leaders for making this deal? I don't think that they will. Right. If he says no, that's going to be a bigger problem to not the Arab world, but to Israel directly, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to signal like actual hostility with the Arab world and the Israel. And Allah knows best, but we won't know until
things came out.
Until things come up.
Jazakallah khair. It was nice talking to you. I'm glad I came here tonight. Jazakallah khair. Everybody have a good night. Assalamu alaikum. Always learning.
Baby shake.
Oh yeah, Jazakallah khair. Not even baby shake. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, family. We'll go up for a couple more minutes because it's getting late. It's like 9:39. We've almost been 2 hours here, and then we'll call it a day, right? So let me just get this up in here. 1 second, y'all. All right, let's keep going.
Rarely shown up when Black people needed solidarity. At the end of the day, Black people in America have every right to put themselves first, especially Black women, who are constantly at the forefront of every fight for justice, yet rarely get the same support in return. The pro-Palestine,
I would say especially Black men over Black women, to be honest, right? That's the only correction I would make with the sister, especially Black men, because she might not be familiar with what's going on with the West, right? But the Black women have been afforded certain opportunities by this white supremacist system, which intentionally is meant to lock out Black men from sustainable employment, certain gains, all that kind of stuff. Right. So all the way from women's suffrage, when we talk about the feminist movement was grounded in actual white supremacy. Okay. The whole reason behind women's suffrage was because Black men were allowed to vote. That's why that whole thing started, right? Black men were allowed to vote. White women got mad, and they started what is known as the women's suffrage movement and saying, "We women want to vote. We who women? We white women." Okay. How are you going to let Sambo and them vote before us? And white men was looking at them like they crazy. Like, why you need to vote for? Why do you need to vote for? You at home, taking care of kids. You are basically you have a protected status, in this country. That's what they were telling them. Like, it don't make sense. You're not going to war. You're not the soldiers. You're not, you don't have to work. You don't do any of this stuff. It's the men that are doing that. Why you need to vote for it? Right? That's what the men they're kind of like what's the logic behind this? The whole logic was because you are letting black men vote. You're letting black men vote. How can you let black men vote before white women? That's what they said. Read K.D. Lang. Read what they said. That's the beginnings of feminism. And then black feminism in the 60s taught black women they don't need no man. That's what it taught them. Sisters are doing it for themselves. All this kind of craziness. All the affirmative action and all this kind of stuff that was meant for black people, they gave it to everybody else except for black people. Everybody else got affirmative action except for black people, the people it was meant for. You get me? So I would say especially black men, much more so than black women, especially black men. You gotta take care of black men, especially black men. Let's keep watching, yo.
The movement needs to have an honest conversation about the anti-blackness in the Arab world. If they want true solidarity, it can't just be about asking black people for help when it's convenient. There has to be real work done to address anti-black attitudes and create genuine mutual support.
The topic of solidarity between black folks and Palestinians has existed since the inception of the State of Israel and the Nakba, and the issue of black and Palestinian liberation not only mirror each other but are inextricably linked in their histories. Support for the freedom of Palestinians has been an element of the Black Panther Party, of the Black Lives Matter movement, of the ending of apartheid in South Africa. Nelson Mandela, after his release from prison in 1990, embraced Yasser Arafat. In 1997, he said, "We know our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of Palestinians." In the 1950s, Malcolm X was one of the first Black Americans to show support for the Palestinian cause and said Black Americans would show complete sympathy with the Arab cause. Several months before his assassination, he visited the Gaza Strip and was completely critical of Israel. The Black Panther Party considered Black Americans to be internally colonized and stated that Black Americans and Palestinians were essentially treated as third world peoples who were oppressed by colonialism and imperialism together. In more recent history, in 2014, in the Ferguson Uprising, Palestinians online showed support, expressed solidarity, and offered advice to protesters in Ferguson. And there were chants that gained prominence at this time. From Ferguson to Palestine, occupation is a crime. These liberation movements have been linked for decades. And this is one of the first times that we're seeing such a divide where we're being told that our values don't align with one another, and that is not the case.
Look, it's not that Black Americans don't feel for Palestinians. Many of them understand oppression and colonialism all too well. They know what it's like to have history erased, to be displaced, and to fight against systems designed to keep them down. So yes, they empathize with the suffering in Gaza, but at the same time, it is not Black people's responsibility to fight every battle, especially when historically, Black struggles have often been overlooked or dismissed by the same communities asking for their help now.
Exactly.
Paper gold. You see, Black folks are chumps. If America were to tell you to bring all the rocks in this country to her, and she'll give you $1 million for it, you'll do it. And the next day she'll tell you we're using rocks for currencies, chump.